All right, Buckos. So look at it like, let's see. What if they had a nice quirk? I just got done with the USJ tag. So now we're gonna do the cavalry battle and all that good stuff. So now what would happen is first is the race. The race is gonna be very obvious. Deku's gonna win. Um, Deku immediately, like the second it happens, instead of Tokoro using his ice, he'll use a lot of flames, but it's controlled flames. And everyone's like, ha ta ta ta. Bakugo seizes an opportunity and tries to boost away, but Todoroki hits him with some ice. Meanwhile, Deku is already pretty much halfway there. And what he does is he's actually so far ahead of everyone because he kind of used some ice to catapult himself dummy far. And so after he's done that or whatever, he immediately starts digging up a shitload of bombs. A shitload of bombs. He takes his time and everything, but instead of him doing it, he gets some ice clones to do it. Actually, he keeps, walking along. So he eventually, like in dummy record time, makes it near the first final thing, but he feels kind of weird. Like he feels a little heavy for some reason, but he doesn't question it, so he makes it. Um, while his ice clones are like sitting there throwing with perfect accuracy, throwing the bombs back at other people. It's not enough to kill somebody, but it does put some damage on it. Reason Deku felt heavy is because Mineta was on his back. He saw what he was doing. It was some weird flashback. And I'm gonna say Mineta is actually a lot more serious in this what if, and he's a lot more determined. So instead of always goofing off or always being a perv, that happens a lot more casually than a lot often. So with him doing like that and stuff, is my voice acting up? Hello? 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 I don't know. So with that happening like it is and stuff, I think all the vaping's catching up to me. He wins that, and I'm gonna say this Mineto's actually was doing some good training while he was when everyone's getting prepared for this. Eventually, Todoroki and Bakugo show up. Then I'm gonna say Todoroki makes it, but barely, because what he does is he kind of kept tricking Bakugo into trying to get the boost off the heat, and so I'm gonna say Todoroki makes it in third, but barely, while Bakugo's in last. So Todoroki and Bakugo into the game. They're all kind of wanting to be on the same team. Even Deku's like, sure, I don't care. But what ended up happening is everyone's on pretty much similar teams like they were in canon, but with everyone being a lot stronger. The big three of the first years, and so what ended up happening is everyone's like, oh hell yeah, let's get it. So a lot happened similar to canon, but the only difference is Mineta isn't actually in the top. So what it actually happens is when everything is said and done, I'll just give you a quick rundown how it goes. Deku basically freezes everyone, and he's literally walking on ice as long as he's not touching the floor, and he's like stealing most of people's stuff. Mineta, meanwhile, is being very careful because what he does is he makes his balls and he starts running on that. And I'm gonna say he increases his head endurance so that he's not bleeding right away. So he's walking and he's running fairly fast because he's been training, and he's gonna go in and grab people's tags to keep his second place, while Bakugo and Todoroki, they're fighting for third place. So at the end of this, Deku's gonna be in first. Mineta and his team, they're gonna be in second, and then Bakugo and Todoroki, they're gonna have their points divided, and they're gonna both be in third. Now let's see where we want to go with this. Now we're gonna have the one-on-ones. Deku, I'm gonna keep it, very consistent with canon. Deku is gonna go against the brainwash guy with the brainwash quirk, and he's pretty much just gonna fold this dude. But he does have a little talk, but the talk's a lot different. Like, you have to make use of what's useful for you. He shows the dude what his quirk is at a very base level. I've been training my quirk since I was a little infant, practically. This is what my quirk used to look like, and it's just literally ice, but it's like melting at a very fast rate. It took me training in very cold environments, nearly freezing to death on numerous occasions to get my quirk where it is. So if your quirk revolves around people talking to you and stuff, you might need to learn how to overcompensate. I can use my quirk to protect my body, and he's going into all of this, right? But what end up happening is, instead of like, him just showing mercy, he just pummels this dude and just kicks him out. Not malicious or anything like that. By this point in time, his mouth is completely covered and everything, and he gets kicked out. Let's see here. We're gonna talk about Bakugo's fights. Bakugo fights Bird Dude, beats Bird Dude. Bakugo fights Uraraka, struggles. Instead of struggling, he just one-shots her almost. So when she does that little fancy maneuver, he obliterates it. He either obliterated it, tanked it, whatever, it doesn't matter. He took care of business. So after that happens, we'll get it. Todoroki did the same thing, but instead of just ice everywhere, he just burned pretty much the thing to the damn ground. And now we'll get into where Deku versus Todoroki, and this fight's a little more exciting. But instead of Todoroki and Deku, it's kind of like Deku is Todoroki and Todoroki is Deku. So Deku is just give me what you got. And as this fight's proceeding on and stuff, meanwhile Deku's in the stand licking ice cream, pun intended. Everyone's like, wait, if you're out here, then who's? Everyone's actually confused. Todoroki thought he got a good hit in, but really, he burned a hole through Deku, and that hole just replenished. And he said, I'm training. Everyone's like, huh? What do you mean you're training? But how are you? Huh? Oh, well, that's a clone of ice over there. He's been fighting in my stead for the longest. Just literally, man. That's all you're seeing. And so everyone's dummy and confused, like, like. And then he tells the clone, hey, enough playing. Clone looks. And then at that instant, the whole stadium was frozen solid. Todoroki couldn't move, even though he was trying to heat his body up. And then Deku pretty much just like chopped the ice around him and just like pushed him off stage. And then Bakugo, before the fight begins, there's a start or anything, Bakugo cups his hands on that Deku's face and blows his head off. And everyone's like, well, why would you do that? Blood. It looks like blood is everywhere and all this stuff. Everyone's like, you're going to be disqualified. He's like, shut up. If I'm going to fight him, I might as well fight the real one. But Deku looks like, oh, man. Everyone's like, huh? Deku pops out all dramatic and stuff. All right. You caught me. Bakugo just knew it wasn't him off the rip. Just the way he was fighting, it was too sloppy. So their fight's actually a lot more interesting. They're throwing some fairly good blows, but Deku's pretty much winning. Bakugo uses one for all at about like 50% or something. I must say he does some dummy good damage. He does some good combos. Deku's like, I'm impressed. And then he says, all right, you know what happens now? And then instead of him using ice, Bakugo was working on a new technique to keep his body warm even in cold situations. And he obliterates all the ice. And then he actually starts going on the offensive and starts hitting Deku's trying to put up ice walls and stuff. But Bakugo's pressing for it. And he also starts kicking, and those kicks have explosives. So he's throwing out all these weird little combos and stuff. And Deku's taken aback by this. He's not struggling. He's just like, oh, you've gotten stronger, I see. I understand. So Deku actually, for once in his life, takes a weird stance. And everyone's like, huh? And no one actually seen him do any punches. It was just mainly him throwing ice and filling ice everywhere. Everyone's like, wait, he actually knows how to fight too? And so what happens is he one-sidedly starts beating Bakugo down into submission. And then right before Bakugo steps out, he puts ice around where the exit is and says, no, bring that ass back here. So they actually fight for an extended period of time, but Bakugo just couldn't keep up. He was using one for all way past his normal limits. He used all his over the top of moves, and Deku just puts ice, jumps out. I'm bored now. And it's not like he's unmotivated or whatever. He put up a good fight. I could kill you. I could beat you. I could have pushed you out a long time ago. He literally won the match. But he literally stopped Bakugo from going off from like a hair by just grabbing him with some ice and pulling him back up. He's not flexing. He's not doing anything. I'm bored now. I'm going to go do some real training. Then at least everyone's awarded their awards, blah, blah, blah. But the one thing I'm going to say, though, actually, hold up. I need to fix the continuity of this. I actually cucked myself a little bit here. I'm going to say Mineta made it to 4th place. All right? Yeah, that'll play a part later. Let's see. I'm almost at my 20 mark. Pretty much done. This what if, like, Deku's so strong, it's not really much of a story. Internship happens. Deku gets training from pretty much almost everyone. He just tells them to make sure the environment's cold for him. Everyone wants to train with him. He gets training with the big three. Staying in that situation doesn't happen the same way due to the fact is Deku pretty much talked to Stan and talked him down from killing people. So instead of him hurting the native hero, he doesn't. And what he does instead is he helps people. And he even's at UA, but that's a different what if. I mean, that's a different story for later. But that happens. But no one necessarily, when they did this training and stuff, it wasn't as much as it was more about pairing people who had, differences, but since, Todoroki, Bakugo, and Deku, they don't have nearly as much differences, they don't really need to be paired. But what I'm going to do is, Deku fights All Might, pretty much not one shot him, but beat him with a great amount of ease. But during that time, he lets Bakugo do most of the fighting and stuff to help him see where he's at compared to his second idol, because he always kind of looked up to Deku in a way, because Deku was always training. And Mineta with his battle is he actually learned a secret move. What his secret move is he focuses all his energy and then he increases his body mass, which it gives him increased agility, speed, all of that good jazz. So instead of him looking all little and timid, he's actually been hitting the gym, and he actually looks swole. And so now that he's done that or whatever, when he goes against Miss Lady or some shit, instead of him being all timid and all feminine and doing all this bullshit, he actually goes in and starts throwing some big body blows and stuff, and he fucks her up. So he puts the tape dude still stays him, but he transforms, and instead of getting distracted, he just wins. So yeah. Still, with the talk with the villain, it happens differently because Deku immediately just freezes the surrounding area. And actually, I'm going to say he has one big body ability, but since he knew he wasn't going to fight, he can't use this often. But he can freeze to the point where everything around him is frozen, so time itself is frozen temporarily. And then him and the man's just having a talk, and he's like, oh, I'll just destroy All Might, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sorry if I don't seem enthusiastic for this one. It's just kind of like a straight line of what's happening. Beast Force happens, Deku's already there because he's got here, but Mineta's there with him because Mineta picked up a couple things and actually did some training. Muscular fight happens, but Deku actually beats Man a lot more easier than he did in canon without One For All. Bakugo doesn't get captured because he's a lot stronger and a lot faster. Plus, Deku eventually got to him. Plus, Todoroki has far more better control over his flames. So he's able to fight off Mans with the flames a lot easier. Let's see here. Now, I'm going to probably stop this one because of the simple fact is the next part will have All Might versus, One For All, and that big super fight and everything being and all that good jazz. Hope y'all like it. Like the video, sub, do all that good stuff. Catch your boy later.